I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We all looked over the agenda. We need the agenda approval. We need a motion. Yeah.
I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda
Yeah.
to clarify the appointment and the role of the mayor pro tem.
To come again now.
Clarify the appointment and the role of the mayor pro tem. We can put it at the back of the agenda.
Okay. What whereabouts you want to put it?
After number 8 or before number 8, whichever.
It don't matter.
Let's do it after number 8.
It may make more sense to do it before the public comments if it's a regular agenda item.
Okay, let's do it.
6G.
6G, there you go. I'd make a motion to, unless there are any other changes, to approve the agenda.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by raising your right hand. Minutes approval of March 7, 2016 and March 17, 2016. We have a motion on both of them together. Should we break them up? You want to break them up?
Sure.
I need a motion on March the 7th, 2016. Does anybody want to make a motion on that?
Has everyone had a chance to read it? I make a motion to adopt the city council meeting minutes of March the 7th, 2016.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, signify with the raising of your right hand if you approve it. Motion approved. I need a motion to approve March the 17th, 2016. Can I get a motion on that?
I make a motion to approve minutes.
Second.
Any discussion?
Brief discussion. I think this comment that Havlin made about the walking trail, that we should buy good quality mulch in the future. Most people miss that opportunity to hear me do a rant. But it's a good set of minutes. I'm ready to approve it.
All right, I have a motion and a second. All of them have approved. Signify by raising your right hand. Motion carried. Department reports, and I don't have any reports from Larry, so I keep reading them to you.
I think I've signed the one.
So we'll go to the city clerk and manager report. Miranda Mandel.
Okay. Number 1, we have had sanitation truck repairs. The repair expense for that was $679.50. We received and installed the cameras for the patrol cars as of this week. Church Street is now open, and we have installed 1 speed bump. We've just received the additional speed bumps and signs, and they will be installed this week. We have received verification from the state that they are accepting our corrective action plan. The state will waive the audit report findings for 1 year. It is the responsibility of the city to clearly show correction to those findings during this time. And
Miranda. So when is the year up, or when do we?
I'm going to say it's going to be at our next audit report.
Okay.
They will review it. And then I've listed this schedule of things that need to be addressed in a timely manner in the next couple of months. The capital improvement plan, the budget process, and the capital improvement plan for 2017. And then I would like to also report on the police department. Recently on Friday, we, to my understanding, had 3 votes to not send the police chief to his police chief training that he's supposed to go to. During this time, I have come to the conclusion by talking to Georgia Post that his post certification now are suspended. He no longer has arrest powers and can no longer write citations, tickets, answer 911 calls, patrol, or anything else as an officer of the state of Georgia. He will have to file for an appeal through Georgia Post. This can take several months, and he cannot file for that appeal until after he takes his certifications for the chief class. And he will have to wait until he'll have to wait to attend the police chief classes till September. And once he is signed up for that class, it will take $200 extra to get him signed up for that. We've already paid $365 for him to go to these classes. He has no authority. He can't even transfer to a different location at this time. And that is it.
Questions?
Mike?
So, there were 3 votes to not send him. What was the, didn't come to the council?
It was brought to my attention that there was 3 votes to not sign the checks.
And what was the reason for not signing the check?
I'm not real sure what the reason is to this point.
Well, the three that said, let's don't sign the check right now, didn't have any idea that he would lose the certification to be a police officer. Was me and Thad had informed me that he had talked to David and David. So that would have been the three votes.
So what was the reason?
Because we didn't think he needed to go down there. And it was $600 something for the motel rooms and stuff.
We already paid for the tuition.
Well, there's more to it than that to be discussed in,
Yeah, we can't talk about it out
Talk
here.
about it out here.
Executive session.
Well, okay, because, what can't we talk about?
his personnel.
His personnel, yeah, we can't talk about it out here.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about it in executive session.
Executive session, yeah.
So, what I'm hearing is that then you decided that he shouldn't go because,
I said we couldn't talk about it here.
okay. Is that a personnel issue?
That's personnel.
His
issue.
You
personnel.
can talk about the decision of him going or not going, but not his personal role as an employee of the city. So it's kind of splitting hairs, but
When they talk about an executive session.
Well, I'd like to hear, I mean, if it's not a personnel issue, you know, why
It
you
is
made
a
the
personnel
decision.
issue.
Well, why did you make the decision? That's not a personal issue. You guys made the decision.
Yeah.
Because,
But there was 3 of us that made the decision.
well, what was it based on? That's my point.
What was your decision?
Why did you make a decision?
That will be discussed in the executive session.
But if it was 3 people wasn't involved, is that considered an illegal meeting?
No.
Because it was.
No, because it's on the phone. We called, made sure.
So the consequences are kind of significant, though. If what I just read here, we basically have neutered our whole police activities.
All that will be discussed in.
Well,
executive session.
why is he not certified now then? I mean, he
I
could
don't
still
know.
been certified.
I don't
We
know.
just said he couldn't go to police chief training.
It's a state law that once you are deemed a police chief by a municipality, that you are to attend the first mandated training for the police chief.
Yeah, so we lost all the certification.
All of them.
we had no way of knowing that either.
I didn't know until today either.
Any more discussion?
We need to ask,
I'll also need to look a little bit into the effectiveness of the vote.
Come again?
The effectiveness of the vote, I'd like a little more details there, as far as whether it's effective as a vote.
Well, we had 3 people that said we would rather, for me not to sign the check, for him to go down there. There wasn't no meeting, so we couldn't sit down and discuss anything about it, period. But when 3 council members says don't sign the check, I'm not gonna sign it.
I actually never did say not sign the check.
Well,
I never
that's
did
what-
hear nothing about a check.
Well, that,
Yeah, what you told me was if
Talking
something was going to
executive.
happen, then we didn't need to send it.
If we was gonna fire him, no, we didn't need to send him, but I said we need
Talk
to
about
discuss
that.
that in executive session. I didn't say nothing about a check.
I just want to know what they had said, at least I said talk to him.
well, that's a problem if you didn't say anything about that and you're counting it as 3 votes.
But he
And you
did.
took action to not let him go to the event. I mean, that should have come back to the council to make a decision.
Well, should have had
It was
a call
on
meeting,
Friday.
I guess, then.
Could have done that, yeah.
It does not appear that there were 3 votes on the specific issue of signing the check to send him to chief training, from what I can see. So there's been no effective
But it's all
council
done now.
decision not to do that.
Yeah. So how do you propose we settle the what's happening, what's took place?
When was the training? Is it too late to,
It was this morning.
it was this morning?
Those 2.
Can they come late to it and still do it?
No, because it's a mandated 60-hour class or training session. You have to be there that entire, because it's a
Complete the
law
whole thing
enforcement.
and get credit.
Well, why wouldn't we got in touch with him and told him he'd lose all his certification on everything?
Because we didn't know that till today.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we didn't know it, so we didn't purposely cause him to lose that. We just thought we wasn't gonna go to the police chief training. That's all we thought.
Well, I mean, there had to be some reason, but you're not disclosing to me why
Let's,
you wouldn't do it.
I'll make a motion, we go to executive session.
You know, go to executive session and we'll,
I'd rather go through the agenda first and then go to
well,
executive
we
session.
don't have to quit talking about this out here then, if you're gonna do that. I mean, what, do we go to executive session? If you don't talk about it,
What's the
we'll go to
rest of the council
executive
want to do?
session.
I mean,
The agenda's been approved as is for now,
Yeah.
so.
and the executive session's at the back part.
All right. So moving right along. All right, discuss repairs of the maintenance of the old playground equipment.
That I actually brought up, I can explain that if you would like.
Uh,
I brought this up right before the cold weather, but then, with the cold weather, no one was really on the playground. There's the one right over here across from the Marble Building, and there is a plastic tube which connects the 2, I guess, platforms, and it is cracked. It is very bad to the point where either someone's gonna get their leg pinched in it, or it's just gonna crack all the way through. It cracked worse since the winter, I guess, with the ice and the freezing. The crack is even worse now, so I imagine it's gonna continue to get worse. To
Mhm.
look into with the nicer weather, we had the Easter egg hunt, and the kids were out there playing to look in to see if we can at least get that repaired. I don't know what company, I guess we'd have to look through the records and see what company we got that equipment from. And at least try to get maybe some quotes for repairs, and then have someone that would, that is familiar with the equipment, look over everything and make sure there's no weak spots that I can't see. I mean, some of the bolts are stripped. Obviously, you're gonna have rust over time. The newer playground in the tot lot seems to be in pretty good shape with the exception of the mulch. The
Swing.
Yeah, whatever, that black tarmac that you put on underneath the mulch is there, but that happens every year. That's just something we have to throw some more mulch down on, because when the kids swing and they drag their feet, but if they drag it too much, they'll tear that. It's not tarmac, but it's a material that kind of keeps the grass from growing up and helps with the drainage and stuff. But everything else on that, to my eye, from walking around on it, embarrassing myself trying to climb on playground equipment, was pretty good. But that one thing, I don't know if we should at least put a sign up or something, a flag or something, warning in the meantime, because I've seen a lot of kids playing, and I just don't want anyone to climb through the tube and either A, pinch their leg or arm, or B, just fall right on through, so. That was why I brought that up.
Well, Miranda, can you check and see where we got this from and what the cost be to fix it?
I can.
Next thing is a review on discuss city employee job descriptions.
I have listed back there in 6B, well, 6, all of the job descriptions that I have come up with by putting our older job descriptions in with some of the new notes that I got from the council at the last meeting. If you guys could just review it, we need to re-adopt these and pass them out to the current employees.
So we need to review those now, or do you want us to?
They're kind of lengthy, so you may want to review them now or review them later and then go over them.
Should we take that as an assignment to
Sure.
report back for the next meeting, and then we can adopt them at that point?
Yes, I think that's probably best. That way we can-
Okay.
Any more discussion on that? Discussion to moving forward with the renovation on the community center. Anybody?
I put it on the agenda, and there's a sheet at the end of all the job descriptions on it. And a couple issues we're facing, you know, we had, public may or may not know, we were challenged by our audit earlier that all the money we had spent on the community center was illegal splosh money. And so we negotiated with her a little bit and changed the use and identity of the community center to be a recreation center, because that would be an eligible use for SPOS funds, whereas what we had as a community center wasn't. And what went with that, though, is the notion that we would have to spend, the building as it was originally conceived was to be a kind of an empty shell that we would rent out to people for any number of events and things. That model is no longer viable. Once we made it a recreation center, it needs to be the format that the uses that go in there need to be substantially recreation. It does leave some room for meeting space, but for the most part, it's a recreation center. And so what we need to do is to come up with a different definition of how we're going to use the building. And as I did some research on my own up in Jasper and talking to the Cherokee County community centers, all of those recreational centers are basically driven by a staff person. In other words, if you want to do a recreational program for whatever, particularly if you have young children and stuff, they have to be supervised and it has to be organized. And the state of Cherokee County has a pretty extensive program of recreational uses. The challenge for us is we just last month laid off police and laid off some of our maintenance workers because we don't have enough money to, in fact, we didn't have enough money to get us through the end of the year. So we're not in a position to have a staffed recreation center. So that brings us to a challenge of trying to come up with a use of a building that is 80% recreational, that doesn't have any staff associated with it. And I don't know what the answer to that is, but that's something very different than what we were building. So in line with that, one of the assignments that Miranda had pointed out was we need to do the capital improvement program. And had asked me to help her come up with some cost estimates. And toward that end, I invited in the AMAC people who did the original plan for the newer play area for the children in the new park project. And along with an architect and an engineer, and invited Tina to accompany me, so you wouldn't have 3 people, council people there. And learned that there are some really fairly substantial code issues that we're not addressing. And in fact, there's probably several issues of, well, for example, before we never pulled a permit to do any work into the building. We're at the course we're on right now, we're not going to be code compliant, and we're missing a lot of the real cost. And we're going to have to kind of redefine how we use the building, because if you don't know how you're going to use it, you don't know how to construct it, and you don't know how to inspect it. So, having given that preamble, I've prepared a resolution that I hope address almost all of our issues to date with regard to the community center, and I'd like to read it very quickly and have a motion, have it for discussion. So, with regard to the community center, one is, I'm recommending, and it's at the back of the personnel, all those personnel questions, it's at the back part of it if you want to read along with me. All construction to be code compliant. So we're not going to do anything that's not code compliant. All proposed uses for the building be approved as splosh eligible in advance of any construction. So that's what we did before. We didn't get splosh approval, and that's why we got in trouble. 3, all construction to be under the direction and responsibility of a Georgia licensed general contractor. As a commercial property, it's written in our code, you have to have a licensed general contractor to do the work inside the building. 4, all construction to be inspected by a Georgia commercial certified building inspector. As you know, previously, the inspector we had was not certified for commercial. 5, all design plans and cost estimates be prepared by a Georgia licensed architect or engineer. So we need to have someone who can give us cost estimates for the entire project and prepare a set of plans that can be reviewed by the code inspector. And that'll give us, they'll do like what the load bearings are for the ceiling and how many people you can have up there. Once you have all that information, now you can begin to do your construction. But we don't have that plan. We at one point hired an architect and then decided not to use the architect. Number 6.
I don't recall that.
So we didn't hire an architect.
We had an agenda that was passed unanimously by the council, except for your vote, to have an intern architect come in and advise. Well, okay, I'll show you the minutes, but we'll pass on that. Number 6, a building permit will be issued prior to construction. The city never issued a building permit for the community center, even though we worked on it.
Well, but all work was stopped on those projects, that's one reason, because we could go back and do that now.
Yeah, but we didn't do it, and that's why.
We didn't do it, but we can't live in the past, we gotta live in the future.
That's right.
That's the reason we're mashing the reset button.
That's exactly right, because we did not do that right, and I'm saying I don't want us to do that. I want us to vote as a council to get a permit before we start construction. 7, no additional construction money will be spent on the recreation center until the city council approves. 1, a defined, viable recreational use for the building. We got to know what we're going to do in there. And 2, preliminary design plan and cost estimates for the complete project. We need to know, I heard some real scary numbers from those architects on what it would take to finish the building.
I figured you probably
So the council needs to know in advance, before we move forward on this, what the bill is going to be to do this. So that's my resolution, and I'd like to make that a motion if I could get a second.
I'll second
The seconder.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I do want to say that this is overwhelming, but I do want to let everybody know that there was a lot of positive that came out of that meeting. They gave us a lot of really good ideas because they have worked on other structures, what you call recreation buildings in other areas that were SPLOST compliant. So in other words, they knew that it would meet the SPLOST standards because it was already pre-approved. And they gave us a lot of good ideas that we hadn't even thought of. For example, which way they, listed may or may not be effective, but if we couldn't afford to employ someone to be in there, some cities actually have a camera system that would be monitored usually by the city manager or the city clerk, whoever happens to be working, like a remote system, and it's operated with swipe key cards, kind of like Woodmont does that, I think, with their pools and or a lot of the developments that have those country club pools slash things. So, I mean, there was a lot of positive that came out of it. A lot of good ideas. It wasn't negative. They didn't throw it down. They didn't say, let's just burn it. They didn't say, tear it down, there's nothing you can do. So they did have a lot of positive feedback, which was good because we needed that to know that what we have we can do wonders with. And that's good to know.
Can I ask why y'all didn't give me a call that y'all was gonna go down there and do this? Because I was supposed to be over the project.
There's two of us, it was me and you, and every time Mike had brought up having someone come in, you didn't want to, so he figured,
He hadn't said nothing to me about it.
well, every time we talked about an architect or this or that, you didn't want anybody in there.
Well, it sort of sounded like y'all was trying to go around me.
No, we weren't trying to go around you. We were trying to have two people, so that we didn't have a meeting and
So then y'all was gonna come back to me, the one that's supposed to be over. I done went through this with Larry when he talked to the fire marshal, and he come back and said we're gonna have to get a $18,000 hood, which wasn't true either. And so Larry had got it confused. If I'm gonna be over a project, then I need to know what everything that's
And I
going on.
fully intended to meet with you and fill you in on everything after I met with him, because he assigned us both to the committee. And I was gonna sit down once we got all the
And
notes.
so then I was supposed to take your word for it on everything you said.
Well, they were also.
Instead of
gonna-
getting it from the horse's mouth.
Well, they were also intended to give us a report as well to share with the entire council. I
And
don't
what
know
was
if
it
we
gonna
still
cost
have
the
to.
city?
Nothing. Everything was free. That's the only reason I agreed to it, because I would not have anything to do with the city spending any money, because we all agreed no money being spent. That was my deal with it.
Any more discussion?
Shouldn't the council have knowledge of somebody bringing in some outsiders and us not having the knowledge of it? Shouldn't we be able to have a voice in this? Period.
You would think it.
I mean, after all, Tina was asked to come and help Jackie down there. She didn't do it.
Well, I did help. He wouldn't let me help. I'm not construction savvy, so obviously I can't build things.
I asked you to come and help pack them dishes.
But I still got the floor right now.
I did come down and I helped you.
I packed the dishes up. No, I packed them.
Well, that's dishes, I understand
Every
that.
one of us in here, I was want to talk, every one of us in here should know what's going on. If I want to go down here and call in for a civil engineer to do the parking lot, every council member here should know that's being done.
Okay, well, in the future, then it
Prior
applies to
to it
everybody.
being done.
Okay, and the same thing should have been done with the situation that
Same
happened
thing
with the
should have
police
been
chief.
done with that community building.
Yeah, we had direction though from the city manager to get the process to this and to try to get a handle on it so she could put together a
The
capital.
city manager doesn't run the city council.
And the one that was in charge of that
She's in
project.
charge of running the day-to-day operations of
And
the
the
city.
one that's in charge of that building is Jackie.
No, it was a committee. Larry assigned two people, he assigned me and Jackie.
And how much did you actually even know about it?
I knew
ain't
about
trying to get in
it.
the fuss, I'm just saying how much did you actually know about it? Yeah, go ahead. But
I won't say somebody come and inspect it and tell us it's safe before any more money spent on it for plans or anything. That floor is safe and go from there first. Ain't no use in drawing something up if we don't know if it's gonna be safe before it's, any more money spent. An engineer or somebody qualified to look at it and tell us.
Yeah, yeah.
That's all I have to say about it, really.
It just seems like, when this project was started though, we was gonna just try to get where we could use it. And since then, it's trying to be expanded into a very expensive project, which we done got money in. And like the Marble building, it seems like to me that it's gonna end up sitting there because we ain't gonna have the money to do it, and we ain't gonna be able to come to any kind of conclusion on it. I mean, I want the building to be safe myself. I've been in construction work for years. I don't have a license as far as that goes, but I know. And we had a licensed electrician to come in and look at the building. And of course, Larry went back and had some stuff changed. Now we'd have to get a licensed electrician to come back in and check it again just to make sure the wiring's all right. Which, we got too many chiefs and not enough Indians on that particular job. There's the problem right there. And so that's gonna have to change one way or another. I don't even want to be on the project if it's gonna be like that. And I just assume y'all take a vote if you want to keep me on the project. If you even want to keep me as mayor pro tem, I just soon see a vote on that. Because, and also check signing. Y'all ain't happy with me not signing a check because I had 2 more council people that asked me not to. And so, well, I didn't talk to you personally, but it came through Thad, so.
And that
You know,
was.
I had no reason to believe that Thad wasn't telling me the truth.
Go down there.
Yeah. So, but now I've got a motion, I got a second. Is there any more discussion on it? If you want to do this and everything, signify with the raising of your right hand. All against? Motion carried, 3-2. All right. Approving the sale of the Crown Vic.
The car is sitting up there. The car is sitting up there, it's not being used. Would the council like to look into maybe taking everything off of it and taking it to auction? Do we want to keep it? Trying to minimize our insurance for the city. Our insurance policy is about to renew.
Mike?
Is there a market to sell it to other police or something?
I'm not real sure, that's something that I can check into if the council agrees, that's something we
What would
should
our options be? We sell it, or we just clean it up and sell it at an auction to
do.
anywhere else we would, okay.
Thad?
What year is that Crown?
08, 09? I'm not sure.
You know, Dwayne?
It was before we were here. It used out it was done with its useful life 2 or 3 years ago as far as the policy.
Mm-hmm.
So it should have been gone a couple of years ago if the policy was enacted.
It's old.
Any suggestions?
Let's ask, could you look into maybe what our options might be? And obviously, we need to move it out of our inventory and just find out what is the most potentially expeditious and the most profitable way for us to
It
move
has
it.
to be sold at a public auction.
Could be, yeah.
We can hold the auction, or you can take it to a public auction, I think. I'm not sure.
You can sell it though.
But it does have to be done, auctioned off by the city.
We sold them before with sealed bids.
Okay. Just advertise it in the paper?
No, they placed it,
Oh,
she got all the,
okay.
Just thinking that Crown Vic was the Tahoe was to replace the Crown Vic, so it should have been done at that
Done,
time.
yeah, right.
Yeah, and Jim, when he came, he wanted to keep the Crown. And I think it was 200, he suggested keeping them for 9 years or 200,000 miles.
What I understand is not in real quality working order either.
That Crown's had transmission
Yeah,
problems.
it had it when we were here.
Yeah. So, yeah, some sucker will buy it.
Well, do y'all
Time
want,
to get rid of that car.
do y'all want to table this until she can check and see what all our options is,
Well,
or are you gonna go ahead and make a motion on it now?
I'll make a motion that we act to have the city manager sell or auction off
through seal bids or with auction?
Whatever's the best way, but move it.
We might get a better price if it's sealed bids.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine, whatever process you want to use. but
because I imagine if we,
Then you don't have
Auction
to
it
take
won't
it
come
if
in.
you don't, if it's not.
If we do a seal bid, when they put a minimum bid on it, I mean, and, cause I remember. bidding
Reserve
on
rights, yeah.
City truck and didn't get it.
Who's going to give us the minimum bid?
We just need to look it over and see what the,
Kelly Blue Book or whatever.
Yeah.
it is.
Okay,
starting price of X amount of dollars.
okay.
So is that your motion?
That's my motion.
I say,
All right, I got a motion and a second to sell the Crown Vic. You can, look it over and everything, and we'll have reserve rights on it and everything, but we need to find out what we think it's worth, what we let it go for. And, just so we can get it set up to when we sell it.
You have to do some vehicle, it won't get much.
All right, we've got a second, we got a motion and a second, any more discussion? If everybody's in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Motion carried.
I'll take the next one. We need to vote or approve or deny the penalty date for the property taxes, unpaid property taxes. We had a couple of discrepancies, actually more than a couple, we had a few. So we had to redo a few bills at the beginning of January. The bills were actually due January the 15th. And I think normally the penalties are applied March, April. I suggest we wait till May the 1st, but I need some sort of direction on how to move forward with that.
Any suggestions?
I think she said it's normally, depending on when they get them out, it's normally March or April. But there were mistakes because is that the extra space thing we came into?
Yeah, the tax digest come in all quirky this year, so we had to redo several bills. People didn't get their bills. They didn't get them until late when they called in January, so.
So Miranda asked me if she should give them like the extra month since it was a mistake on the part of it was the tax digest and then we had to reinterpret everything and fix everything, so blame whoever you want. But the point is, it's not their fault, So I told her to put it on here and so we could all decide whether to give them the extra time. I mean, I realize it's already 4 days into April, but I thought giving them an extra time for the inconvenience that wasn't their fault wouldn't be a problem, but I figured we could all decide on that.
Anybody? Mike?
I would say, it is kind of the onus is on us on that. And not that we did it came from the county, but it's not an unreasonable thing to, I think, extend our date. The only concern I would have in terms of your cash flow, how far back can we move the date and still have the city survive?
I think we'll be.
Not an issue?
No, not an
Okay.
issue. I would just like to be able to move forward with this year because before long we'll have the next year digest coming in.
Yeah. Well, I vote that we approve that.
second,
For how long?
to May 1st.
Yeah, May 1st.
May 1st.
Which is under. Yeah.
Got a motion to extend it to May 1st. Got a second? Any discussion? If not, everybody in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Motion carried. A vote approve transfer of 5-ton DOD truck back to Warner Robins, Georgia. I think this must have been a truck that Larry wanted up there or something, which I don't see we've got much practical use for. And it's just, we just got paying out insurance on it for nothing.
I thought it was already delivered.
Huh?
I thought it was already delivered.
No, I think we've gotta have somebody take it down there or
Yeah, the
something.
Hyundai transferred, but when the DOD guys came they instructed us that, we could take it back to Warner Robins. and
But
turn
there's
it
a
back in.
catch.
Well, there is a catch, it has to be driven by a CDL driver.
If they gotta have a CDL license for to drive that truck.
Yeah, and they're supposed to have it at all times, driving the truck.
How it got here, that's a mystery. I don't know how.
But we really don't have a use for it, plus we're paying insurance, so, there again, it's one of those things that we could save a little bit of money if we got it out of our possession, plus it's a liability.
Well, I make a motion that we find somebody that's got CDLs to drive it back down to Warner Robins, take it back down there and, dispose of it and get it off our insurance.
The mayor's got
No, it's
CDLs.
DOT
Does he?
stuff supposed to
Yeah.
go back to.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's cool, yay.
If I can't do it, I can try to do it, but I don't know when it would be, I mean, I can't. On the weekend or something.
Well, I made the motion, anybody gonna second it?
I'll second it. I have a question.
Yeah.
What about the damage?
Fortunately, the DOD guys came out and they weren't real worried about it. So that's there again,
Oh, good.
that's another
Okay.
issue that it's a liability. It'd be better to get it out of our possession while we have the authority to get rid of it,
Right,
the approval.
okay.
All right, I made the motion, we got a second. We got a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Motion carried.
Well, I got one comment after this is over with. If Larry's got CDL license, why don't we ask him if he can drive?
Well, that's fine with me.
But David may have CDL license.
Yeah, that's what
Well,
I
he
was
said he
asking.
would, he just didn't know when he could.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of bummed, I wanted to know what it was like to drive that thing.
Larry might enjoy it.
That's a long way
Oh,
down.
not all the way to Warner Robins, I just wanted to ride down the street, you know, to feel that.
Moving on to G, the duties of the mayor pro tem.
I had the narrative on the role of mayor pro tem. I don't know if I need to go in, but basically just says it shall preside over all the meetings of the city council and shall assume the duties and powers of the mayor during any disability or absence of the mayor, which is today. We have an absence of the mayor, and Mayor pro tem is running the meeting. Any such disability or absence, though, should be declared by the majority vote of the city council. The city council shall by majority vote elect a presiding officer from its number for any period in which the mayor pro tem is disabled, absent, or acting as mayor. Such absence or disability should be declared by the majority vote of the city council. The role of mayor pro tem, which is one of my points of discussion, is basically just limited to in the absence of the mayor. And in fact, in our case, the mayor, except for tonight, has been available and conducted meetings, is generally available if we need to sign some document or an ordinance or whatever. But if the mayor were not here, then in fact, and the mayor were disabled or absent, then the mayor pro tem would basically take on those roles, but that's not our case. In any case, that was kind of gives some definition to what the role is. It's pretty limited, really. It doesn't really have any real power to it, as I at least read that. What I would like to suggest, though, is that Jackie, we've had you on here for 3 terms now. 3 times we've appointed you, or twice? Twice. Yeah. And I'd like to make a motion to recommend that we appoint a new person to be mayor pro tem and nominate people to, anyone to be a new pro tem. And that's with respect to the work you've done, which has been very good. And I just want to see it spread around a little bit. So my
this-
motion would be to open the nominations for a new mayor pro tem to represent the city of Nelson.
Well, usually we do this, I think, at the beginning of each year, but if you're making that a motion, do I have a second?
I second.
All right, I got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Is there any
asking, you know, you listen, ask him for
Okay,
discussion.
well, I would like to say, is there anyone who we could nominate for the position?
I think that this is going to need to happen in two parts.
Okay.
I think there's going to need to be a removal or resignation before we have a vote for a removal or resignation before we have a new person appointed.
My understanding is that Mayor Pro Tem and all your committees and everything are appointed in January.
The mayor pro tem is a little, it serves at the pleasure of the council. It's a position that is created by and voted for by the
In
council.
case the mayor's not here, can't be contacted, or not in town,
Right.
He doesn't vote anyway,
in case of attack.
in case of time.
Is there a question?
So I guess I'm lost. So there needs to be a motion in two parts.
Yes, before a new person could potentially be nominated or voted for, unless you, I mean, you're going to have to do two separate things. You would have to get Jackie out and someone else in. You can't just vote someone else in
Okay,
without first.
so I will make a motion, I mean, following your directions, I guess that kills, we had a second to that motion, we were discussing it, weren't we?
Yeah, you, I was
So-
going to
so
throw
we're
your
saying
motion
that
forward.
But your motion, I believe, your motion was not to nominate a specific person, your motion was to consider nominating new people. I think that motion can stand, but the motion nominating someone is going to need to be very clear that this person will replace Jackie as the mayor pro tem.
Could you help me with what I need to say?
And is that legal to do that right now?
There's nothing in the charter preventing it.
It's at the pleasure of the council. So, my motion would be what?
I suppose it'd be nominations for a replacement of Jackie as mayor pro tem.
Okay, make a motion for nominations to replace Jackie, our current mayor pro tem. We need a second on that?
Yes.
Second.
All right, I got a motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor signify by the raising of your right hand. All against? I probably shouldn't have voted since I was mayor pro tem, but the motion carried anyhow.
Now you're on.
So now you make a second motion?
Yes.
To
Yes.
accept
Now you-
nominations?
Yes.
Gotta nominate somebody now.
Yeah, go ahead and nominate
Someone as a
somebody.
motion.
Yeah, so I make a motion to open nominations for a replacement for mayor pro tem. Do I have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion?
So do I accept nominations at this point? Is there anyone who would be nominated for the position?
Nominate Tina.
Are you willing?
Yes?
So we have a nomination, do I need to accept, or we need to vote on it, to have Tina replace,
Yes, you're gonna have to vote to
okay?
appoint her.
Is that a form of a motion, or we just vote on that? We
Put
accept
it
the
down on the
nominations.
motion, I would say.
You need to do another motion. You've
Okay,
taken nominees.
I make a motion to.
Why do we have to vote on the
You need
nominees?
to accept,
Yeah.
you've made a separate motion, you need to accept this motion, that you opened it for nominees and chose Tina. So there needs to be a vote on that motion, and then you need to do a motion to appoint her.
So we need to call the question and ask for a vote.
Well, would you make the motion to nominate Tina?
I opened up the nominations, he made a nomination, she accepted.
Okay, well, maybe you need to make a nomination to make her mayor pro tem now.
Right. And so are we voting on that now? Help me.
The motion was a motion to appoint. The motion was a
Okay, and then
motion
it's
to
second.
accept
Okay.
Tina
All
as
right.
a nominee,
All-
and it was
okay.
seconded, so now we're.
All in favor, signify by raising your right hand.
Yes.
Y'all getting me confused.
Am I allowed to vote or?
Yes.
Yes.
All opposed? Motion carried. Now you gotta make the motion to make a pro tem.
Okay, I make a motion to accept Tina's nomination to act as the mayor pro tem.
I second.
I got a motion and a second, any discussion? If not, all in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Motion carried. Well, all against. Do it right. Okay, motion carried. All right, public comment. One.
Dwayne
Do
Cronick.
I finish this?
Yes,
This here?
yeah.
Okay.
Dwayne Cronick, 1007 Laurel Lake Drive. I just have some personal comments for y'all tonight. First of all, the decisions that have been made, I've sat up there, okay? I know what y'all are going through. But from out here, what I heard tonight was one decision was made because 3 people called each other. And then another decision shouldn't have been made because the whole council wasn't involved with it, with the community center. The bottom line is, and y'all know where I stand with this, y'all need a city manager. Y'all know that. Y'all have heard me say that since 2011 when I was elected. I am a proponent of the city manager. I think that when you create, when the council starts putting their 2 cents into different things, you create that 5-headed monster that I used to talk about all the time, where one person was making the decision for 5, and it's not right. I really think that y'all have got to get to a point where y'all lay it on the line that y'all are the legislative branch that meets once a month, or if y'all have a special called meeting, y'all meet twice or 3 times a month. She's in charge of this city, okay? She makes the decisions. She's in charge of this city. I really feel like y'all have really got, and it's hard to do. Like I said, I've sat up there. It's hard to back off and say, you know what? I don't make that decision, you do. But I just think that y'all have got to get to that point as a council to where she makes the decisions of this city. She's doing a great job. She has done a great job for ever how many months she's been in office. All right. There's been 2 years of chaos. She has come in, and in the last 2 months, this city is all of a sudden starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. She really has. Y'all have got to back off and let her do her job. I truly believe that, and I'm not fussing, I'm just telling y'all what I heard from this side tonight. The other thing is the community center. Y'all went through a lot of stuff tonight, but what I did not hear and what I would really like to hear is what is the end result of this community center? How much money is this community center going to bring in? And how much is it going to cost? And this is not new for me. I have said this for years and years and years. I just really want to see a business model made for that community center. All right? When I was on the council, Mr. Jarrett came to me and said, we need a community center. And I said, yes, sir, okay. But let's see a business model. Let's see how much money this thing's going to make for us and how much money it's going to cost us. And let's really look at it and see. Because if it's a profit-driven thing, then that's what we need to look at. If it's a community service thing, and y'all decide it's a community service thing and profit's not all that important, that's fine, but let us know. Let us taxpayers know. Yes, ma'am.
Dwayne, I had a question for you actually, even Edith, the past council. Now, the drawing, the gentlemen that we met with were the gentlemen that were involved or the same firm that were involved when the whole park plan was. And they brought the original picture, which included the community building. So, did you all ask that, or what happened?
We didn't. That was before us, right? That was when we had other people looking at that, and that was that was brought in as the entire, because when we came in, we were given the entire community, or the entire park. And it was told to me by Mr. Eccles, is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Eccles showed the whole park to me. He laid the entire plan out and he talked to me about it being in phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. So that was kind of the aspect that it was brought to me with, was it was the different phases of that park and how everything, and as a matter of fact, what we did down there originally on that park was phase 1. So there were a whole bunch of phases to that park that were supposed to come after that initial $200,000 that we got from Cherokee.
Okay, now were they supposed to contribute more?
No. That, it was laid out for us with our SPOS money that we were going to get in. They were going to give us $200,000 to come in and do whatever we wanted them to do.
Okay,
And that's what we chose to do as a council, but the park project itself was laid out for us to then, after that, go into our own SPOS money and then contribute from there.
okay, that was,
So-
thank you, because I was
Yeah.
confused, because someone said that they were still owed us money, and I didn't think that was the
No,
case.
no. They paid us, and I think we got the $20,000 back, didn't we? Didn't they reimburse us that? So they reimbursed us, and so our ties with Cherokee are over, in my opinion. I mean, I believe so. But anyway, I didn't want to sit up here and ridicule. I just wanted y'all to think about what I said from this point of view. And again, my personal opinion is the city manager runs the city, and y'all meet and do what y'all need to do.
I've got something to ask, since you know a lot about that community building in the park. First of all, I believe we were told we cannot make a profit by using that community center. And the whole thing about the community center was for the community and not to be renting it out or karate classes and stuff like that.
Well, I agree with that. I mean, my personal opinion, I had never heard that you couldn't make a profit on it. I mean, you make a profit on sanitation, you make a profit on the community center, other municipalities make a profit on theirs.
On their park, on
Yes.
their community center.
They actually tied into their budget with their revenue. Community center, here's how much money we're gonna make. If you'll look at other municipalities' revenue or budgets, it'll say in their revenue, this is how much we're gonna make on our community center. Ball Ground does it. If you'll look at their budgets, they're online.
They rent it out, and they have a big one.
But they actually
Stuff
listed on
like
their
that.
budgets that this is how much revenue we're gonna make, and then they come down here in their expenditures and they say how much we're gonna spend on it.
Well, when it was being purchased, my idea of it was, what we were going to do was like have bingo in there. Everything was to be for the community, that's all, period.
Yeah.
And the Marble Museum was to be upstairs.
Well, see, and that's my thing. I just would like to, for the council to tell everybody what do they
That's
want
right,
it to
yeah,
do, you know?
it's-
What do we want it for? Do we want it for that? Is it a community service?
It's for the community.
And let the council say, yes, sir, this is what it's for. It's a community service building.
Because maybe that needs to be clear.
I think it does. I think it
For the
does.
whole year, that's what I've been
I think you're right.
told. And the Rebecca Lodge, there's an agreement with them to keep a lot of that stuff that
Yeah.
they had and they left to be in there
Yeah, yeah,
because of it being the Rebecca Lodge.
yeah.
I'm not sure if the pictures were left or not, but I kept thinking that the pictures as members were supposed to be left in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't think the community as a whole understands what's the end game of that. I mean, you know, we.
I don't think we do neither.
I don't either. I think y'all should. I think y'all should come together and have a discussion of what is the end game. Because I mean, I'm hearing about how we need to get this and how, and Mike presented all of that tonight. But I think the end result is I think you ought to look at the end result and say, all right, this is what we want. Now, how do we get there? How do we get there? Because I'm not sure the council is in agreement of what they want.
I think you're right. I think there's, like, Larry has his vision because he has ties.
Yes. Yeah, I agree.
That's okay, he can have his vision.
I mean, I know just from being on the council, I know Jackie's vision of that community center because him and I have talked about it. But other than that, Jackie's one person, there you go. I mean, you know, he's one of the five-headed monster Forgive me, yeah, that's just what I called us when we were up there. But, you know, I mean, the council needs to decide what is the vision of that community center? What is the end result of that community center? And then come up with their plan from there with the community understanding what the council's vision of that community center is.
It's like to be used, give something for the kids and the teenagers to
Yeah.
do, things for the seniors to do. That's my whole conception of why we bought it.
Mhm.
Other than that, as far as turning it into a money-making
Mhm.
organization, no.
Yeah, well, I mean, I agree, I just think the
It's for
council should
people
say
in this
that.
town is what
Yeah.
I thought it was for.
Yeah, and you know, and then you gotta look at, you gotta look at how much budget money that's gonna cost, you know? I mean, you gotta sit down, again, understand what y'all wanna do with it, have that vision in mind, and then back up and say, okay, what's the budgetary items? How much is it gonna cost us for utilities? How much is it gonna cost us for upkeep? How much is it gonna cost us? And make sure that y'all have a good understanding going into it, and I don't think that's really happened all together. I think it's been Jackie on the project, he had an understanding, I think Larry had his own vision of it, and had a different understanding, but I don't think the whole council has come together and said, this is what we want to do, as a council, as a 3-2, 4-1, 5-0, whatever it is. This is what we want to do with that, and now we're going to put it into our city manager's hands to move forward with what we want to see happen.
And in case you didn't know it, my understanding is we also voted to spend $30,000 on the lower and 30 on the top to get it. We're not trying to make it look like a brand new building.
Yeah.
And the Rebecca Lodge, because they want to kind of keep it like it was when they had it. Because they did sell it at a low price.
Yeah, they did, but anyway, that was all I had, y'all.
Yeah.
So, thank y'all.
I appreciate your input.
Lamar? I'll see Lamar's in first.
Yeah, no, that's.
Before Dwayne leaves the room,
No, I'm right here,
I was just gonna say, thank you very much for your comments, because we're in total agreement on everything you said. This was a bad night to be sitting out there. We look to people to, be professionals, use your head and do the right thing. Then I hear of backroom 3 votes and the word somebody's gonna get fired.
Where'd you hear that from?
I heard it from him.
Yeah.
I heard we're fired in this room tonight.
True.
I don't think there's anybody on the council that has the job description to fire anybody.
Well,
He didn't say that.
You didn't say that?
when I was talking about
Yes.
the check sign, I said, well, we need to discuss this back there.
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
you did
Well,
say
I'm just
fire.
saying it got.
Well, I heard the word fired.
Yes,
So
I heard it too.
with the city manager, I think the city manager is over hiring and firing with the consent of the council. So before anybody gets fired, I think the city manager's going to be strongly involved in that, probably initiate. Now that I got that off my chest. To Jackie, I'd like to commend you for your heart was in the right place, but you made some bad decisions. And it's all you can say about it. And all I know is take it like a man and move on. And the part about not supporting our policemen is, as hard a job as he has to do, not to get 200% support and get him his training he needs is beyond disgusting. So be sure and have nice long talk in executive session. And it wouldn't be out of order for an apology to go to our policemen. That's my comment. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Edith Portillo, 1004 Laurel Lake Drive. What Dwayne said, he was absolutely right. And what Lamar said, he was absolutely right. And what Thad said, I'm actually agreeing with him about the community center. You have to have a focus of what it's going to be. But I think that this, talking back and forth, this started once you made, this is nothing personal against the man, okay? But when you voted to make the mayor, Larry Ray, strong mayor, you got into all these problems because he was totally unqualified to run the city, and he has run it down. He destroyed the community center. I personally think that he did. And you have no money. You have absolutely no money to do anything. And as Dwayne said, Jackie always wanted to have a community center, and I always wanted to have a community center. But it turned into the idea that this man had, and he had no knowledge of finances, of how many times did some of us stand up here and said, what's the budget? What's your budget? What is your, light bill, this, that, whatever, any building needs to have before you even open the doors. So one thing you did right, some of you, was to remove him, because he is definitely not qualified. He ran the city down, and all of you are also responsible. I can't blame him totally, because you should have been involved in every aspect that he did. I know that it was after the fact of some things that you found out. And you have to all come together. Just like with Tina and Mike, that when Jackie, you got upset, yes, but you and him did the same thing with the check. I mean, the police, please, when we spend hundreds of dollars with the prior police chief, who spent so much money. But you have to come together. You just have to come together. It's just like the Republican Party. They have to come together. Because if not, we're in deep doo-doo.
It's not going to happen.
Okay? We're going to be in deep doo-doo. That's all I have to say. Thank you. And Jackie, you've done a good job.
Thank you.
Okay? I know it comes from your heart, but then you go whatever and you go off of it, but you've done a good job.
Edith, before you step down, I got a question. What do you think the community center should be?
I've always
What is
thought
it?
it was going to be not to rent it out for weddings or, it's good to make a profit, but I don't think that was the intent.
Right.
Originally. I think the intent was absolutely for the neighborhood. You want bingo, to get the elderly there. Like me, I don't play bingo, so. Yeah, it was for the area, for us.
Yeah.
For us. Now, if you could also make some money, it would be wonderful. But you have to have something to go by. Not just say, oh, we're going to rent it out. Larry sat here and said, oh, I have a list of people that want to rent it out. Where's the list?
Well, I'm going, if y'all don't mind, there was somewhere in there that where it came up to where that we could not make money.
off of that.
Oh, absolutely, I agree,
Preacher
yes.
Blackwell wanted to hold church services. down
Yes,
there.
exactly, and that was, when I heard that,
I was told that we can't do that.
No.
We cannot rent it
that's
out
absolutely
for
not.
any reason
But he
whatsoever.
sat up there and he said that
I know.
we could do this and we could do that. Well, that's not here or there, okay?
Right.
You just have to come together and try to do the best you can with what you have.
I want,
Mike has a lot of good ideas, not that all his ideas are great. But he has that knowledge. I mean, the man ran, you know, one of the biggest cities in the state. What was it, Santa Clarita?
I didn't run it.
Well, you were there. So you have knowledge. He has knowledge. You gotta use what you have. And your own egos, I know because it's hard to do, because everybody thinks, you know best. But that's, my personal opinion. You have to go from here and stop the, the craziness.
Everybody else?
I'll say something, but I'm just gonna say it from here. Thad, you had brought up about.
actually, you need to come up here.
I'll come up there. You brought up about the budget for downstairs, 30,000,
Yeah.
budget upstairs, 30,000. My knowledge, when the report came out, the 30,000 downstairs was already spent, gone, done.
That's,
And there's only a little bit of
some
money
of that
left
money
upstairs.
that has been charged to the community center was for materials and stuff, for a deck and other stuff over there around the bathrooms in that park over there.
Mm.
And also, it was also figured
So,
in.
but like you were saying, $30,000 budget,
Yeah,
the budget's
I don't-
already gone. She's trying to put a budget together now that you're gonna need,
Actually, it was actually
everybody needs-
60,000.
Everybody needs to just get together and make a plan. Just make a plan together as a whole. All you is take the love, hate that whoever has or whatever and throw it away. Make a plan, work together, put something together, and everybody in here would be a whole lot happier.
And my
Because all
understanding-
I keep hearing from my neighbors who come around and they see me now that I'm outside my house is, hey man, things don't look too good over there, what's gonna happen? Everybody's tired of hearing that. You guys can work together and get something done. One thing done would make a world of difference.
Well,
My wife's getting phone calls and I have to watch my poor wife take heart pills that she never has to take because of stress and aggravation and worrying about putting something together and getting something done. Just work together, guys. Miranda, I think you're doing an awesome job.
Yes, you did, I'm sorry I didn't say that.
You guys can get together as a team. You made a comment how, you guys weren't invited to go to the thing up over there. Then there's a comment about, what happened with the vote over the, money for sending the police chief to school. I mean, come on guys, just work together. Work together. It's not hard. I mean, put your differences aside, whatever they may be, and just work together. You just said you guys could call and talk to people on the phone. How hard is it to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, we're doing this, this, and this. What do you think of this, this, and this? If you can't have a meeting on it. Or if you really think that you guys need to sit down together on something, call a special meeting. How hard is it to call a special meeting? Not hard. She doesn't even have to be here for a special meeting.
she doesn't have to be here for the council meeting.
Right. So, I mean, come on,
It
guys.
takes 24 hours, you gotta let the newspaper know.
Come on,
24 hours
guys.
before
I mean,
call
like
meeting.
everybody else that's sitting out here, I'm hearing all these people make the same things. Okay, I never say anything, and I don't say anything because my wife's on the council. I don't say anything. But I know that every one of you guys has the city in your heart, because I've talked to every one of you individually. But nobody wants to work together. It seems like there's a couple want to do this, a couple want to do this, and nobody wants to work together. And then now we got a big problem. Now we have no police. We have no police here at all in the city. Nothing. And I can tell you right now, I've personally had to call the police, and it takes 3, 4, 5 hours. So during the day, forget it, you're never gonna get them during the day. You might get them, you know, in the evening in 3 or 4 hours, but during the day when things are busy, you're not getting them in 3 or 4 hours.
But you get the fire department, I understand.
You know, and now we can't even say, well, you know, we have a cop that's here during the day in the peak hours. We can't say that we even have that.
Oh, that's correct.
And I got people up in the back behind me that are shooting guns and all kinds of stuff, all this warm weather that's been going on. We don't know what's going on. I mean, seriously.
They may be turkey hunting, because I saw turkey out there yesterday.
Maybe, but I don't think you're supposed to be hunting where they're hunting.
They're not.
You know, but still, I mean, really, like I said, I don't really ever get up and say anything. But I know that everybody that's sitting up there, I know all of you, I've talked to all of you, I know where your heart is for the city, but you're gonna have to work together as a team, because there's no me in team, and if anybody wants to have the me attitude, things ain't gonna work. And people are gonna start banging heads against, and everybody's gonna be in turmoil and arguing. And I know the heart of all you guys, and I just can't understand why nobody can work together. I can't understand it. I really can't. That's all I got to say.
Dan, did you have something to say? I kept telling you. Did you want to say something?
Not ready.
Anybody else got anything to say? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn to the executive session then.
I second that.
Whose motion?
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Signify by raising your right hand.
Okay, hold on. Who motioned and who seconded? 'Cause-
Jackie
We
motion.
had a dual.
We had a dual second over here.
Okay.
I'm gonna call this meeting back to order. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Oh, no, an executive session. Okay, I got that. There was no action to it.
Thank you.
Okay. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? We are adjourned.